Was good, was good, was good, was good. Hope you're having a blessed day. Life is treating you well. Out here in Hollywood, Florida, wrapping up the remainder of the trip. About to get ready to do some work, see some clients, and the trip has been going beautiful so far. No complaints. Really thankful, really blessed that God has allowed me this opportunity. Had some really good time for reflection and really helped me to appreciate getting outside of my skull. Thoughts can be really tricky in that they will lead you down a rabbit hole a lot of times and have you thinking things and worrying about things that are really not truly important. I was working with the client doing some research on this, and it talked about how our brain exists inside this dark space within the skull and doesn't have immediate contact with the outside environment. So, what the brain will do is, through thinking, make its best guess towards what's going on in the reality that you're in. And many times when we resist what is, what life is presenting to us, through that resistance, we engage in initiate a lot of thinking, which allows us to time travel, create alternative realities than that which is presented, much of which is negative because it doesn't allow us to be skillful and effective in that moment. And I found myself having a lot of just stinking thinking thoughts, a lot of negative thoughts, found myself processing things from childhood, processing things in my life. And half the battle in life is managing your thinking, managing what you're telling yourself. When you treat your thoughts as facts, when you're telling yourself you're not good enough, this won't work out, this is doomed to fail, and you believe those thoughts are facts. In therapy, we call that cognitive fusion. And when what happens with fusion is when you fuse with a thought and you treat that negative stuff you tell yourself as like an absolute reality, you don't challenge it, you don't have the momentum to change it, and you find yourself being removed from what's truly important to you. So on this trip, just found myself having like a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of negative thinking, and even as a therapist, in a lot of ways, it's still challenging because we're still human. And in an ideal world, I know people would like to, become their jobs. However, we still struggle as counselors. We still struggle as therapists. I'm going to be honest about that. There were areas where I backslid. I've been trying to conquer lust and lustful thoughts and lustful thinking and things of that nature and found myself slipping, misaligned with this sort of goal that I set for myself to get closer with the Lord, and I just felt so guilty, like my spirit was convicting me, and I had to slow down, remove myself from Georgia, come back down here to Florida before I wrap things up and go back to California, and really get my priorities straight. It first should start with strengthening your relationship with God, with the Spirit, having that sense of inner bliss and well being and self confidence and self love. And then from there, you take care of other matters, whether it be your family, your friends, your children, the environment, etc. And just have some downtime to kind of reflect on that. How just don't let your thoughts and the brain sort of struggle to make sense of what's going on outside of that skull interfere with you living a quality life. Try to pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Pay attention to what you're telling yourself, what thoughts you're accepting as absolute truths. Because whatever thought you accept as an absolute truth, that's a thought that you're not going to challenge. That's a thought that you're going to most likely act from. And more than likely create anxiety, depression, things of that nature. So, trip has been going well down here in Hollywood, Florida, about 15, 20 minutes from Fort Lauderdale. It's hot. It's been storming on and off, but nevertheless, it's Florida. It's really beautiful. Went to the beach, about to get to work, but just wanted to share that word with you guys to just pay attention to your thoughts, but don't let your thoughts consume you. Don't let them remove you from what's truly important to you. It's just the brain's best guess. You have to look at your brain as this thing, this entity sitting inside this skull in the dark. It doesn't really know what's going on. So, hope you guys are having a blessed day. Hope that the Lord revitalizes your spirit, revitalizes your journey to draw closer to Him, praying that God blesses you guys, that God uplifts your spirit, uplifts your soul in these really trying times. America is a very complex ecosystem where you have so many different realities coexisting, and in a lot of ways, it can be confusing. It can be invalidating when you're suffering and you have a lot on your mind. And then 2 blocks over, everybody's partying, having a good time. So I understand how challenging it can be to sit with your suffering and be validated in that suffering. And everybody's kind of doing their own thing. So if you are suffering, if you are struggling, if you are having a difficult time with anxiety, with depression, we're just trying to figure this thing out, this really complex human reality, praying that God gives you grace, understanding, and wisdom to navigate that. And that's all I have, man. You guys have a blessed day.